One of the biggest challenges brands face today is understanding what young consumers look for in apparel. Aside from trendy styles and affordable prices, what else influences their purchasing decisions? Do they really care about sustainable apparel, or is it just fashionable to talk about it? And what about quality? Does anybody notice? And if they do, does it matter? Through Inside Fashion's Consumer Lab, we have been studying consumer preferences for years, trying to decode what consumers want when they look for apparel. Rather than use typical multiple-choice surveys, we decided to ask consumers to tell us, in their own words, what really matters to them when they're looking for apparel. You'll hear consumers' thoughts on sustainability, and then we'll hear what raw materials and suppliers are doing to support the demand for greater sustainability in the supply chain. Next, we'll talk about quality, and consumers will let us know whether they're actually looking to buy fewer but better, or they prefer cheaper so that they can buy more. Here too, suppliers will be letting us know what they're doing to improve apparel quality, as well as support greater transparency in the supply chain. So, let's get started.
How important to you is sustainability when choosing clothes?
Definitely shifting away from really harmful synthetic materials they use to produce things, I guess, from away from like the whole fast fashion concept in general, and realizing that, profit isn't the only important thing.
More like social impact oriented. Like a lot of the times, like the clothes that we wear, especially nowadays, are like the people who make them don't get paid the correct wages for what they're doing and things like that. So just like understanding that and being conscious of it.
Fast fashion brands are super not eco-friendly. So I would say I would want them to try to like minimize their waste and all of that type of stuff. But so I take that into concern sometimes. When I was in college, I obviously didn't have much of a extra budget to spend. So I would just buy the cheap stuff, even if it wasn't ethical or eco-friendly. But now that I'm making a salary, I can take more of those things into consideration when I'm buying clothes.
Because I don't think just stating it on the website or putting it on the tag no longer works as a symbol of trust in their transparency. Maybe it's time to figure new ways of having these conversations with consumers.
Brands actively helps give people clean water or donates for every pair that they sell. Like, that stuff is super cool to me, so it definitely incentivizes me to get their brands over others.
What fabrics do you prefer for everyday work or leisure clothes?
Well, I like natural fibers more, like cotton and wool.
I really like silk, although it needs a little bit more care. I really like blended cotton. Cotton mixed with a little bit of something else. I also like that cotton lets me breathe, like lets my skin breathe easily.
Just like really soft cotton, flexible t-shirts that are like nice and comfortable to wear.
I definitely think feeling is a big thing for me. That's another reason why I like, well, I've been shopping online more, but one of the reasons I still do go in person is just to feel the clothes. Like when I walk through a store, I find myself like, even if it's something I don't like, I'll just find myself like touching it. I like to see what clothes feel like.
The U.S. cotton industry has a long record, 35 years of improving our cotton growing metrics for the environment, whether that's reducing water usage, greenhouse gases, et cetera. We measure that. We've got, through the Field to Market initiative, we've got data going back 35 years. It shows, for instance, that U.S. farmers have improved their water efficiency by 82%. So that's per kilo of cotton grown. And then the other thing is we're the only country in the world to set quantifiable goals for 2025 to continuous improvement in greenhouse gases, water usage, soil erosion, et cetera. So we've got a great record. We've set goals. And the third piece we needed to do to really make it happen was the creation of the U.S. Cotton Trust Protocol. There is no final goal, really. It's all a matter of continuously improving every day. There's two key things that will help drive U.S. cotton sustainability. Let's call it three. I mentioned the protocol. The second part is a commitment to what we call precision agriculture, and that's the use of technology to measure everything, meaning water sensors that measure water probes that are actually in the ground that can tell how much subsurface moisture is there, variable rate sensors to determine how much water a particular field needs. Different fields need different amounts of water. So the growers are using that to control very precisely the level of whether it's water, fertilizer, pesticides, et cetera, that they use. And the final part is just data, really using data. You know, what people respect, what you inspect, and measurement is the key to getting better in anything. If you're not measuring it, how do you know you're continuously improving? So it's all about data and using the data we have, because the technology is all there for us to really help drive that improved goal. What differentiates the protocol is really data. We have our growers, not only do they fill out a 120 question survey about their current growing practices and sustainability, they're subject then to independent verification through control union, including farm visits to make sure they're really filling it out properly. But then they have to fill out for a percentage of their fields all of their data in terms of, again, water usage, pesticide, fertilizer, soil, carbon, et cetera. They put all this into a program called the Field Print Calculator, which is part of the Field to Market organization. And then we have the ability to crunch all that data and then see, are we making an impact on the land or not? And are we improving? Are we not improving? Which metrics are we improving in? And ultimately, so there'll be an annual report published every year from the protocol saying, okay, here's what the data says about the job that the U.S. Trust Protocol growers are doing in the U.S. And we'll compare it. And again, we're hoping it gets better every year, although there might be years when it goes out of whack. But over time, we should show, again, continuous improvement, and we'll be able to measure it. And we'll be the only country in the world as of now that can actually do that and prove it.
With the rise of sustainability right now, that a lot of brands actually are really focusing on more variety but smaller MOQs in a way. So we are focusing on that. So in that sense, we are quite different with most of the factories who usually do more volume businesses. But we cater to smaller MOQs, more attention to details, services. We have our own embroidery facilities, for example. So more custom, more personalized kind of orders. What sets us apart, we're more like a boutique factory, I would call it, especially for the younger generation. I think they're more demanding in terms of this sustainability. They really want to know whether you breathe sustainability. So it's not just campaigning and not just talking and advertising. I think the younger generations really wants to know whether you live by it. It's important for us as the manufacturers to understand that the world is changing, that we need to change, and we need to be authentic in a way that we live sustainably. I don't think we can avoid it. We just need to live by it. We reflect on our machineries that just wasting electricity, wasting waters. We shut down some of our machines, older machines that are very wasteful.
Right now, the company Grantech is actually focused on the sustainability. So sustainability products will be the future game changers, happen today. We have our commitment called Project Kind, which is a bundle of responsibility to carry the statement of the company, drives continuous improvement in the key of sustainability metrics, starting from the green materials we use, eco-friendly process we do, and also responsible for waste management to reduce global footprint. So it's coming back to the definition of sustainability itself. The definition of the sustainability innovation world has been changed over years with so many platforms to bring some clarity of this sustainability. We call it kind. It actually comes from the heart. It costs more to save a lot even more. So once again, we feel that spatial proud because everyone does know about sustainability, but Not everyone will do sustainability production for their business.
When we talk of sustainability, for me, buying a right raw material and utilizing it to the fully. So we don't make more waste. That is most important. So use the right raw material to make the right product.
When shopping for clothes, how do you prefer to spend your budget? Buy fewer things but better things, or look lower prices so that you can buy more?
Definitely more of a fewer clothes for better items. Quality is important to me, fabric, etc.
I think I would lean towards buying less things that are better quality. So like spending more on one piece rather than buying a bunch of small pieces or super cheap pieces. I think my mindset has shifted because a couple years ago I would have said the other question. But
And I love shopping for clothes. I don't want to feel guilty when it's time that I'm bored of them and they are still good to be worn. So this is the reason why I go for cheap and more.
Honestly, I think depending on the item, it's a combination of both. So for stuff like jeans or something that I want to last me a really long time, I look for quality over quantity and I'm willing to spend a little more, invest in them. But if I'm following a trend or something like clothes that I feel like are really in right now, but I know that they will pass very soon, then I'm fine paying less and getting.
That's a good way to put it. Same, like with jeans, I like want to invest in them.
There's a difference between getting something for like an event or like a one-time occurrence or like just season, or buying something for the long run. If I want something for the long run, I'll get like a quality brand like LL Bean, like Patagonia or something. I would say buy fewer things, but something I really want, because I already have a lot of clothes and I've accumulated a lot of things over the years. So being able to purchase specific items that I want, whether it be brands or colors or styles, to complement what I already own, is something that I'd be more interested in.
Definitely buying fewer things that are higher quality. I think that's in part too because I'm like quite the minimalist when it comes to not having a lot of clutter around, especially living in a small apartment as a college student too. I don't want to have huge amounts of things and I want them to last as long as possible.
Depends upon what I'm buying. For dresses and shoes, I think it would fall under the fewer but better category. Well, for example, I wear a lot of like tank tops and I bought those for $2 each because I know that like, at least for those, I don't think quality makes too big of a difference in terms of looks because you wear it with other things.
No, I'll never buy anything that looks good but quality is bad because I expect that I can at least wear the clothes for at least 1 or 2 years, not getting teared or look weird after wearing a couple months. I would not buy that. And quality is always the top priority.
If the value's there, then I think you kind of get your money back. And something my mum always told me, if you buy cheap, you buy twice. So you can get bargains sometimes, which is great. But sometimes if we're penny pinching, sometimes what can happen is that we end up spending more money because we might end up buying something twice or 3 times because it just hasn't warmed the or lasted the test of time.
You know what you get when you buy U.S. cotton. What do I mean by that? I mean that U.S. cotton is 100% classed by the U.S. Department of Agriculture for all its qualities: length, staple length, strength, micronair, leaf, etc. So that a buyer of U.S. cotton, when the cotton arrives at their spinning mill, they know exactly what they bought. We offer a wide variety of qualities. And the good thing is there's a role for all of that cotton, depending on what you're making. Over time, the seed varieties that the farmers use have gotten better. Staple length gradually getting longer and longer. I think the average staple length now is 38. It's getting stronger. Everything is getting gradually better and better. It's all because of technology. Again, the money that the growers are investing to make better quality cotton and more sustainable cotton at the same time. The next big push is really towards circularity, keeping garments for a longer time. So obviously, cotton not only is a comfortable fiber to wear, it also lasts a long time. As consumers move to circularity, cotton has a big advantage there. There's two parts to the protocol. Part one is with the growers collecting data, reporting on sustainability metrics to show continuous improvement. And the second part is transparency. And the key word there is transparency, not traceability. The protocol doesn't offer traceability, but it does offer a transparent supply chain. We are beginning the pilot program with the protocol credit system with 5 major global brands. The program is designed so that each brand can see not just their tier 1 garment supplier, but also their fabric, dye finish, and spinner. So all the way back through the supply chain, they can actually identify companies in the supply chain and be able to track the movement of U.S. cotton through that supply chain so that they can ultimately claim credit for the use of U.S. Cotton Trust Protocol bales. That program is in partnership with Textile Genesis. This will set a new standard for transparency in the supply chain. I think ultimately every brand and retailer I talk to would really love to have what I call traceability in their supply chain so that they know that at each point they know exactly what raw material is going into their product. I think that's a little bit of a ways off. Maybe it's 2 years, maybe it's 5 years, just because you can have digital traceability with blockchain technology, but then you have to have the physical inspections, audits, compliance in order to ensure that inventories are being segregated and that, in fact, you really are tracing it through that supply chain. Very doable, by the way. I think that's the future. And Jane, you're exactly right. The next step is supply chain transparency. And then the final frontier, if you will, is traceability. And I think it'll give all the brands and retailers a sense of relief because they've been on so much pressure from media and NGOs to prove that their supply chains are in fact compliant. So I think, again, that's coming. And I should add that the U.S. Cotton Trust Protocol has an aspiration to be traceable at some point.
4 or 5 months back, we became a member of Trust Protocol, US Cotton. But from my customers' perspective, for them, US Cotton is important. So they always ask US Cotton because in the market, brand is built already. I think US Cotton brand is built.
So now this sustainability, including this US Cotton Trust Protocol, is really getting more attention to the market. The young generation in particular, they don't really care about the brands, but they really do care about what's inside the brands. So they want to know what kind of materials that we use. You know, we can explain the process that we do, of course, but what kind of cotton? How do I know that this is with U.S. cotton traceable? You know, so these kind of things really help us a lot.
The main concern of our buyers lately is that the product that we sell to them must be sustainable and also traceable. I believe that USCTP provides this that we can offer to our customers.
Customer of mine like Brooks Brothers and Chico's. We are working on for wrinkle-free fabrics, and then we need a good cotton like Supinas, all this. We cannot avoid. I've been working for Brooks Brothers for 10 years and Chico's too. And I have not a single claim or problem for using US cotton. No, nothing.
The company started from my father actually, and his policy always integrated. If you don't have a raw material on your hand, then you cannot win in this business. I mean, it's like your customer will be, always sad, because it's far away. It takes time. I mean, logistics is the key, on this business. Also, we want to aim with the US cotton to have a full integrated system, full integrated product from yarn to garments, so that we have also cotton label also in the garment. Now our H&M, for example, they're very happy with us. Now delivery, how long, Jane? From fabric to garments? You know how long? 3 weeks. We can do here. since we the raw material with us, right?
We are a company who really push forward on Industry 4.0, on making sure that automation really can help our less skilled worker, and then our skilled worker can actually do more complicated stuff. Also, I wish you can see our place right now, Jane. You can see that digitalization is more on integrated platform to some of the factories, and we are moving to the one that has less integration to be also more integrations. We believe that when we employ our workers, the mindset as for them to prosper as well as our community. Also in education, because that's why most of our CSR and most of our budget is also for education on empowerment of people development. We believe the world is changing. Indonesia is changing. Indonesia is fourth largest populated country in the world. But then we have also good demographic to produce the goods, but we also have the good demographic to buy the goods.
Thanks so much for joining me today. Understanding what consumers want is such a critical part of our entire supply chain and product development process. I hope this video has been useful. I'm Jane Singer, and I'll see you next time.